From Gamble Pavilion on the campus of the University of Connecticut, we welcome you to UConn women's basketball on SNY, a matchup of two undefeated teams in the American. The top-ranked Huskies welcome in the UCF Knights, and through 3 conference games, the defense dominating for UConn. A plus 53 in scoring margin in the first 3 conference games. UConn shooting 56%, holding their opponents to 29%. USF, the number 2 scoring team in the conference, shot 28% and scored just 49 points on Saturday night. With that, we welcome you inside Gamble alongside Megan Como. I'm Eric Freed. Usually by the second week of January, people are done with New Year's resolutions, but the resolutions that Meg had for UConn are still holding pretty firm because they've been so strong defensively.
Well, defensively, they truly put on a clinic against USF, and they were led by a key nurse who was determined to not let Kitty Alaksa get going. Now, look, hard to catch a ball, but then forcing her right, and there, a contested jump shot. And inside, Azurée Stevens blocking shots, disrupting shots. The kid with those outstretched arms made it so difficult on the interior. Great team defense. Everyone knew where Laksa was the entire time, and then finally got a long-range 3 off, but it was rushed, it was hurried, and boy, did she work hard for not a lot.
That resolution you had New Year's Eve, keeping that intensity up in conference play, especially on the defensive end, still very evident for UConn. But now this is a different opponent here today. UCF is the number 1 scoring defense team in the conference. They do it a lot differently than USF does, and this is a team that will want to slow things down against Connecticut.
Yeah, they're going to want to limit the possessions. Now look at that. They only score 61 points a game, only 24 threes made. As you see, they're the fewest in the country. But Coach Abe told us before the game, she wants her kids to play fearless and stay focused. Things are going to get out of hand. UConn's going to go on their runs. She wants them to stay focused and play their game.
UCF and UConn getting set to meet here on campus, and it is great to be back in stores for the January thaw. We'll have the starting lineups and the opening tip next on SNY. Before we tip things off here at Gamble, we're going to take you behind the curtain a little bit and show you what happens here before the doors open up for the crowd, before you watch us on SNY. The players get on the court about 5:40 every single game, and take note, kids, they don't come out and just start jacking threes. They do some form shooting, then move their way out. They go back to the locker room, little chalk talk, maybe a little film, then they come out. They stay loose on the floor, then they get loose by stretching out, and now they have foam rollers that are actually motorized and vibrating, so they're getting the muscles all loose and ready to go and limbered up. And, you know, sometimes old school push-ups work. That's how you become one of the top shooters.
Is that what you call that?
Yeah, old school. Tyler Irwin in the middle of things usually keeps things loose. And then form and structure starts to take hold a little bit. The team follows the same routine. They run their plays. They just, you know what's coming. You can sit there on the chairs and watch it. They go back to the locker room for a few more minutes, then they come out together.
They always come out, 20 minutes before the game. They are creatures of habit.
True. Here are tonight's starting lineups presented by Subaru, the familiar 5 for UConn, with Crystal Dangerfield joined by Kia nurse Katie Lou Samuelson, Gabby Williams, and Nafisa Collier. UConn 13-0 on the season, 3-0 in conference play. UCF Knights 11-5, 3-0 in the American. They have won 4 in a row and 7 of their last 8. KK Wright, Zakiya Saunders in her first year playing for UCF. Aaliyah Gregory, Masani Kaba in the starting 5 as well, with Naila Schuler. Students not back yet. Still winter break, but a good crowd turning out here as UConn returns to Gamble the first time since November. Gino Uriema, he's been the cruise director for this team. They've taken him to Canada, to the West Coast, to the South. I think he's happy to be back home before heading out to Texas on Friday for a game against Houston on Saturday. We're ready for basketball here in stores. UConn got off to a great start again against USF in the first quarter. Look at that point differential this season in 13 games. They had a 25-point lead in the first quarter. They were on top 33-8 in Tampa at USF. UConn in their home white. They control the opening tip. And we are underway here on a Tuesday night at Gamble. Dee Kantner, Brian Enterline, Kevin Bethel, our officiating crew. Nafisa Collier found a little space and gets the roll.
Remaining hot offensively, she got back on track, shooting well at USF.
25 points, a season high for Collier last time out. 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks, and shots that were falling in her first field goal attempt here at Gamble. Rolled around and dropped in. Open look from the outside. Good position on the inside by a good freshman for UCF. But Kaba gets called for the travel. She's the reigning freshman of the week in the American. Katie Abrahamson Henderson, commonly referred to as Coach Abe, in her second season at UCF after 6 very successful seasons at UAlbany. UConn gets it into the front court, but Collier travels with it.
That's certainly the way to get the ball up the floor on the pass. Advanced it in a hurry.
Well, certainly the scouting report for UCF is they will not take three-point shots. Yet their first field goal attempt was a three-pointer, so maybe they're going to go away from their usual playbook here against the #1 team in the country. Thrown out of bounds by Schuler.
And Abe's like, huh?
UCF averaging 15 turnovers a game. They turn their opponents over 19 times again. Kia Nurse open 3 is short. 1 and done for the Huskies. Gregory averaging 13 points a game, as is Saunders, to lead UCF in scoring. Here is Wright, a little too strong, and Williams has the rebound. The advance to Samuelson. Samuelson, a little hesitation, couldn't finish. Williams, athletic, try to finish it. Some contact, they play on. Saunders in transition. Rebounded by Williams. Crystal Dangerfield turned around just in time to find the basketball, but couldn't find the hoop. Right back defensively. Back the other way. Kaba.
I would not have predicted
take a break for a minute here if you'd like to provide any analysis of what we just saw.
Gosh, there's not a whole lot to say.
Sometimes it's better left unsaid. UConn continues to move the basketball. 10 to shoot. Dangerfield to Williams. Well, there's been a lot of contact here. Looks like the officials letting them play. Kaba slow to get up. So Saunders will slow things down for the Knights. Wright. KK Wright, third on the team in scoring at 10 points a game. Pulled it back out against Gabby Williams. Down to 3 on the shot clock. Saunders has to hoist it up, and she does. It is a 2, but they will go to video review during the media timeout.
That was almost an afterthought by Saunders to shoot that ball.
Nurse on the perimeter. UCF's doing a good job running out on UConn shooters. Dangerfield tries to find space. UConn hasn't had good looks, and now Collier turns around and finds an open look for 2.
Well, you have to dribble penetrate against the zone. Nice job that time by Dangerfield. Just came up short, but credit Collier for tracking down the offensive rebound and finishing.
UConn leading the country in shooting at 53%, but they are 2 of 9 from the field so far here in the first quarter.
And defensively, UConn has been in a zone.
And UCF does a good job against that zone, and they find Schuler open for 2. Another deflection by UCF. One thing they'll do, and you see UConn do it all the time, they'll get after loose basketballs on the floor, and they come away with it.
UConn will be a man here. You see Kia Nurse yelling 5. That's their half-court man-to-man. And they're switching on everything.
They're starting Gregory. Gregory, tough shot for 2. Leah Gregory, the senior from Tampa, 6th on UCF's all-time scoring list. Nurse quickly down the other end. She'll head to the free throw line to shoot a couple. Well, Coach A before the game just talking about her team staying focused, as you touched upon, but also just trying to scrap and play tough, and I think we've seen that so far. They've mucked it up on the defensive end, and UConn hasn't found much space.
Yeah, and they, packed in that zone, not give him anything easy in the lane, and you find, against the zone, you got to throw skip passes, you got to knock down open shots, but you also have to dribble penetrate into the gaps, and the time that Collier, or rather Dangerfield, did it, they found success. But, they're also not turning the basketball over and giving UConn any transition buckets.
1 of 2 from the free throw line for Nurse, UConn's best free throw shooter at 80%. Pressure coming into the backcourt now for UConn. UCF handles it, approaching 5 minutes to play in the first quarter. UCF came up empty on their first 5 possessions, but on their last 3 possessions, they have scored 6 points. This possession ends in a turnover, the bounce pass lead. Dangerfield to Nurse for the finish.
Well, Williams started everything with the nice steal defensively, but what a spectacular pass from Dangerfield to Nurse.
That puts UConn back in front, 7-6. UCF will take it down in the shot clock pretty deep. Saunders shoots with 10 on the clock. Samuelson turns and finds Williams. Great hustle play by Sikia Saunders. A clean block. It'll be UConn basketball when we come back. Little intensity on the court, too. Gabby Williams getting up, wondering perhaps where the foul was, or talking a bit. So UCF coming out, fired up on defense in the first. UConn women's basketball on SNY is brought to you by Town Fair Tire. Every brand at the guaranteed lowest price. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. By People's United Bank. You like zone coverage? People's United Bank has 150 branches in Connecticut. Member FDIC. By Connecticut Lighting Centers and Restoration Lighting Gallery Centers. So much more than just a lighting store. By Subaru of New England, supplying all-wheel drive vehicles with a passion for winter adventure. And by the Connecticut State Farm agents of the game, Mike Esposito and Christian Ager in Manchester. Speak with them today. 1-point game in the early going here in stores. Let's send you over to Justine Ward, who was just listening in on that last UConn huddle. Justine.
Hey, Eric. Well, Gino was upset that some of the things the team went over and shoot around in practice is not necessarily translating in that first quarter. He said, don't let UCF run the shot clock. He really needs them to be more aggressive. Eric?
We'll keep an eye out for that. We do know, Justine, that UConn has shown an ability coming out of timeouts to really dial things up a notch, but it's UCF that's flying around. I mean, those sorts of things show up in film and on play-by-play box scores of the runs that UConn goes out after having a chance to huddle up and adjust. And this is a UCF team that's going to scrap. They're going to battle. That's their MO.
Absolutely. They're incredibly well coached, and they are prepared. And, fearless is the key word, as Coach Abe told us before the game. They're not afraid of anybody.
Williams. Back outside, Samuelson, open look for 3. Count it, and the foul, but there is a foul on UConn. Will they count the basket? The foul is on Connecticut. They do count the 3 for Samuelson, but there is a foul in the battle in the paint for the rebound.
It's physical in there.
Williams gets whistled for the foul.
It's hard to tell what happened.
Well, when Gabby had her shot blocked right before the first media timeout, she got up and she hit the basket support. She got up, she was talking. I don't know if she was looking for a call from the official. It looked like a clean block from Saunders, or if she was.
You don't know if, there's some jawing that we didn't hear. It looked like she was saying something. We just didn't know to whom.
Saunders for 3. That's off the mark. Grabbed by UCF's Kaba. The officials don't reset the shot clock here because Kaba didn't get it, and Wright is shut down. Now Wright kind of turns around and says, okay, it's just a turnover. We just used up 30 seconds of the shot clock, so let's dig in on defense. The officials did go to the monitor, by the way, during the media timeout, and they kept that Saunders jumper at 2. They did not turn it to a 3. Samuelson tries for two. Kaba the rebound. Kaba, one of the top freshmen in the conference, averaging 8 points, 6 rebounds a game. She's been double figures in 5 of her last 6 games, averaging 13 points a game during that stretch. Dangerfield the rebound. Collier kicks it out. Samuelson sets for 3. Katie loose. Samuelson knocks down the 3. And a timeout called by UCF. A 9-0 run by Connecticut.
Yeah, and Abrahamson Henderson wants to stop the bleeding right now. 2 threes by Samuelson. The nice kick from Collier. You know, again, when they're packing it in, the only way you can spread that defense is to knock down shots. You think he's a little fired up?
Tight game. Team isn't playing at the level they have been. Give UCF some credit for that. Even though UConn has scored the first 6 points out of that media timeout, it's not enough.
Well, and his point is, listen, they're not going to roll over and die just because you showed up on the floor. You have to play. And as much as the fans say, oh, wait, is UConn up, 24-2 yet? His team cannot expect to come out and all of a sudden be up by 15.
So after the UCF timeout to try to slow down this UConn run, Wright takes it into the paint. Nurse rips down the rebound. Dangerfield. Nurse calls for it. Collier for 3. Cabo with the rebound.
We said these guys were scrappy. UCF is physical and scrappy, and you can see it already. They play hard.
It's like UConn's trying to match that intensity on the defensive end. Dangerfield was all over Gregory, and then Collier got the block.
Good help as Dangerfield gets beat. Collier over to help. You're used to seeing that out of Azare Stevens, not as much out of Nafisa Collier.
Collier second on the team in blocked shots with 25, and a foul called on Kaba for UCF. Better defensive trip for UConn. They got the shot clock violation previously, and now they get a foul on Kaba.
Sometimes when UConn comes out, when Gino has his team starting a zone, which is not very often, they can sometimes lull themselves into not to sleep, but certainly not as aggressive as when they're man-to-man.
Dangerfield, open look, 4-3.
UConn happy to see Dangerfield knock down a long-range shot.
9 straight points out of the first media timeout for Connecticut. Schuler. Gregory. Right guarded by Samuelson. Back to Saunders. Saunders for Kaba. Kaba nowhere to go with Collier there. Loose ball bounced around. Tipped out of bounds. 4 on the shot clock for UCF.
Again, that inside out. When you can skip past that from the opposite side. So difficult for the defense to get there. Nice find and nice shot.
L'Oreal Wilson into the game for UCF, and a turnover. Gabby Williams has Kia Nurse on her right. Gabby will do it herself. "11 straight points out of the media timeout.
Nice physical take by Williams.
Wilson kicks it. Schuler averaging 4 points a game. Kicks it back out to Wright, and she'll slow things down. Shot clock down to 9 as UCF slows it down inside of a minute to go in the first.
Gino coaching like crazy on the sidelines over there.
Kaba, shot blocked by Collier. Kaba got it back, and it is a shot clock violation. They say she did not get the shot off in time, and this has been a lot better on the defensive end for UConn.
Well, I don't think they want their coach screaming in their faces like he was.
What will it take for them to make him stop screaming? That's got to be their mindset. UCF 0 for their last 7 from the field. They've turned the ball over 6 times in the quarter. Gabby Williams a little too strong. Wright has it. Kayla Thigpen into the game for UCF. She wears number 11. See UCF scoreless over 5 minutes. Williams and Kaba dive for the basketball. Possession arrow pointing UCF's way. Shot clock is off. 9.3 to go in the quarter.
So UConn really stepped it up defensively. Has held UCF scoreless. What is it, 5 minutes now?
Yep. Last field goal was with 5:21 to go in the quarter. It put UCF on top. But it's been all UConn since then, and Wright ends the run, banks it in, and that is the end of the first quarter.
Taya Saunders had a great aggressive take there, fast with the basketball to knock that shot in. But Gabby Williams defensively all over the place, physically going to the rim, has her team up 10 at the end of 1.
Low scoring first quarter, 18-8, UConn on top as we get ready for the second quarter. Before we do that, let's go to Justine, whose report is brought to us by Citizens Bank. Hello, Justine.
Hey, Eric. Well, Gino talked about the leadership he saw from his seniors against USF, and he really defined the impact they can have. He said for Gabby, she creates a lot of energy. She has this uncanny ability to make plays, and people feed off of that. For Kia Nurse, he said it's her aggressiveness that is unmatched, her intensity. So when both of them bring those things, that's what great leadership is for this team.
We certainly saw that in full display on Saturday night. Gabby with 9 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and Kia Nurse 8 points, 5 assists, 2 steals. Kia's numbers don't even begin to tell the story of how she set that level of intensity, especially on the defensive end, locking up Loxa, taking her out of her game.
And the team fed off of what she did defensively, no doubt.
Dangerfield for 2. UConn went on a 14-0 run in that first quarter. They were down 6-4. They went on top 18-6. And now trying to keep that defensive pressure on.
First sign of a full court press we've seen.
Williams with the rebound. 5th rebound for Gabby Williams. UConn has yet to go to their bench to bring in Azure Stevens. Williams with an offensive rebound. Tip it out to Nurse. Throw it over to Samuelson. But she comes up empty. Another rebound for Gabby Williams. Kia Nurse takes off, takes it at Wilson, who rips the arms down and gets called for the foul.
Another hard foul. And you see Gabby Williams has ripped down that rebound. And, you know, that's the scrappy kind of stuff we're talking about. There's some hard fouls, but going for the ball.
Here is Azure Stevens. First sub of the game in for UConn, coming off 15-point, 9 rebound, 4 block performance against USF. As Nafisa Collier heads to the bench. Nafisa 4 points, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks so far in the first half. Williams and Dangerfield leading the pressure in the backcourt. Dangerfield came in, got a hand on it. Williams had it for just a second. Saunders, quick hands to take it back for UCF. And Kaba gets the 2. Kia Saunders, really an outstanding player. Won 3 American East championships playing for Coach Abe at UAlbany. Transferred to UCF, sat out last year after transferring. So this is her first year, and she has fit right in. Played very well for UCF. And there is Saunders stepping in and getting the steal.
Credit UCF defensively. Nice possession there to force that turnover.
See UConn really settling back behind that three-point line. UCF, again, last in the country in three-pointers made. There's Stevens against the freshman Kaba with the defensive play.
Nice move by Kaba, just couldn't finish.
Stevens, deep three. She is not afraid to keep shooting, even though her shooting numbers aren't very good from outside the three-point line. Now 5 of 31.
Yeah, good shooters just keep shooting. Maybe, you know, since UConn's last game here, Gamble was November 17th. This is like a road game for them.
Schuler for three. I don't think that explanation is going to fly with the coach. Maybe I'm wrong. But Gregory turned around, ran right into one of the officials.
Brian Enterline is...
And it was full speed collision. So the official's part of the court, and I think it's going to be UConn basketball. But the big question is Gregory okay? Because she turned around. It looked like it was going to be UCF ball. Watch this.
Boom.
Gregory tried to grab her. Looked like the ball was still on the floor, and then touched Gregory when she was out of bounds. But that was a hard hit.
Tell you, of all the officials for her to run into, he was the worst choice.
He is one guy who can take a charge. So Aaliyah heads over to the bench. Athletic training staff came out to check on her, so she'll head out. I mean, the only person that feels worse than Aaliyah Gregory right now
Brian
is
Enterline.
Brian Enterline.
A veteran official. He's been around forever.
Samuelson. Collier back in the game, but Samuelson called for the foul, offensive foul. And Katie Lou comes up saying no way, but the call goes against Samuelson.
Tell you, both officials had the call.
Looked like Kaba was there.
She's pleading her case. It will fall on deaf ears, though.
Gabby Williams to the bench with Collier back into the game. That's going to be a backcourt violation. Jamisha Paul Jr. from Florida, who had suffered a season-ending injury 8 games into last year. With the turnover. Dangerfield's pull-up. And a foul called on Kaba, locking up Azure Stevens. That's going to be 2 personal fouls on Kaba, and UCF is a little short-handed in the post. Fifi Endor out with an injury. Toluopio Mokore also out, so they can't afford to be without Kaba for an extended period of time, but she will head to the bench with the 2 personals.
A nice execution.
Up until the shot. Good execution of the play, just would not go down for Stevens.
It's hard to take issue with that. The shot just didn't drop.
Well, it's been a bit of a rock fight here between UConn and UCF, and I think that's how UCF likes it. You can't expect to beat UConn if you play UConn's game. So UCF trying to make it real tough on Connecticut. It's been tough on UCF as well. You can see the score, 21-10, 6.5 to go in the first half. Collier, good look inside, and Stevens with the finish.
And that's where Gino Auriemma will say, if you space yourselves out and pass the ball around, you'll get a layup every time. Don't settle for the first open jump shot.
Nurse extends the defense a little bit, hoping maybe for Saunders to speed things up offensively. She does take a shot a little earlier in the shot clock than we've seen, and it'll be UConn basketball.
Again, good spacing, nice high-low, pretty finish.
Wilson back on the floor for UCF. For UConn, it's Nurse, Dangerfield, Samuelson, Stevens, and Collier. Dangerfield works with the Collier screen. Couldn't get the bucket. UCF has the basketball.
I like Dangerfield being more aggressive offensively. I think that will only help UConn down the road.
Crystal 5th on the team in scoring, averaging 12 points a game. Of course, leading the team in assists at 5 a game. Well, pretty good fight by Wilson for UCF. She wins the battle, it'll be UCF basketball. UConn making it tough for UCF to get the basketball in play, and now they'll bring it back out towards midcourt. Dangerfield's going to stay right with Wright. UCF has scored just 4 points in the last 10 minutes, and a kick ball called on UCF, and it'll be UConn basketball. Gabby Williams comes into the game as Crystal Dangerfield heads out. So right now in a tight game, just a 6-player rotation for UConn. No sign of Megan Walker as of yet. Stevens will try and miss for 3. Gabby Williams tracks it down. Collier calling for it. Couldn't finish it. Stevens fights for it. Count it, and the foul. UConn's had to fight for everything. They've missed some open looks as well. They'll have a chance for a 3-point play when we come back to Gampel Pavilion. Azrae Stevens can stand down for a moment. We'll take the timeout. It's been a battle here at Gampel. A struggle, you would say. Right now, UConn winning the struggle by 15.
It's different. It's a little anxiety. You know, you always hope the team is ready to play. You hope you prepare well. This was my scout, too, so that's added pressure. But they're a good team. I think at the end of the day, you just try to build confidence in your players. You try to keep them within their game plan, and, you know, you go out there, and this is a good test. This is one of the best teams in the country, probably the world, if you ask me. And, you know, you go out there and you compete. That's what builds champions.
One of the UConn greats in her second year as an assistant coach at UCF, Nikisha Sales, UConn class of 98 Big East Player of the Year, 2-time All-American, scored over 2,000 points. She's a teammate of Shea Rouse for 2 years. They played together for 1 year. Shea had a medical redshirt year during Nikisha's senior year. Of course, Nikisha had an injury here against Notre Dame playing at Gampel, so it's got to be odd for her to come into this building. I think odder still to have, as she mentioned it during that little clip, this is her scout. That means she's the one who's breaking down all the plays, and she has to let the coaching staff know, or her head coach know, what's coming, what they should run, what.
Well, and you know what it should
be. That's a different layer and different level for her.
Yeah, but you know what, it should be her, because she knows what to expect. She knows what Gino is capable of and the types of teams that he produces. So it makes sense. I mean, it just worked out that it was her scout. Most coaches alternate. Get thrown right into the fire her second year of coaching.
UCF found the open player. UConn had the ball swarm, but Schuler got free.
Gino, not happy with that one. Getting a good little workout over there tonight.
Yeah, I must say, we are keeping one eye on that UConn bench, because there have been more highlights on the bench sometimes for how Gino is getting involved with the players on the floor and on the bench than what we've seen on the court. Now a 2-on-1 the other way off the UConn turnover, but Samuelson knocks it away. Ball on the ground. Grabbed by UCF. Nurse got a hand in it. I think this is the very play that you can clip off if you want to show the highlights tonight at 11 o'clock on the local news.
This has been insane. Gino not happy that the trap didn't get the ball, that they didn't slide over. Talking to Azrae Stevens, saying, Z, you got to get it down there, steal it out of the trap. But Samuelson was irate that they didn't call a foul. She felt like she got fouled going to the ground.
Saunders knocks down a 3 to bring UCF within 11. And a foul called on Thigpen. Again, UCF averages less than 2 made three-pointers a game. They have made, as Meg talked about at the top of our show, 24 total threes entering this game here today. And Zakiya Saunders just knocked down a three-pointer. That's their first in 5 attempts.
That's her 4th on the season.
They only attempt 5 a game, so they're right at their quota. Stevens for 2. Veteran UConn watchers know that we're usually good for one quick answer and walk off a year. I'd just like to warn Justine, this could be that time. Inside of 3 to go in the first half, 28-15. Dangerfield, the up quick to Williams. Collier turns around, can't get it go, but she'll go to the line to shoot a couple. Be sure to stay with us at halftime. Gary and Kara will have the first half analysis. And you'll hear from Katie Lou Samuelson on the UConn Halftime Show, presented by your local Ford dealer. There's Katie Lou, leading the team in scoring at nearly 19 points a game. Well, free throw shooting has been a bit of a struggle for UConn here in the first half. Now 4 for 7 from the free throw line. Saunders.
I think UConn a little bit more in their rhythm with the full court pressure and the man-to-man. But, I'm impressed with UCF's poise, taking care of the basketball.
They're trying to dictate the tempo, and this has to be the kind of score they'd love to see on the board. He held UConn to 29 points. They scored, the Huskies did 33 in the first quarter alone against USF the other night.
Right, and, Gino's team is not going to, score and play like they did against USF every single game. But Coach Abe has her team certainly confident and prepared, and they're sticking with the game plan.
Wright for 2. Cornelia K.K. Wright, the sophomore out of Orlando, averaging 10 points a game. Stevens finds a cutting Samuelson. Well, there's been a combination of UCF making it tough on UConn, but UConn hasn't done themselves any favors. They've missed some open looks.
That was a perfect example.
Wright answers again. 6 points for K.K. Wright to lead UCF in scoring, and that's a 10-point game.
Gino not looking to call a timeout. He's going to let these guys figure this out.
That's a good way to do it. Williams over the top to Stevens. Azrae Stevens leading the way for UConn off the bench. She has 9 to lead the Huskies in scoring.
And this is where you look to your leaders, your seniors, to take charge of the basketball game.
What Justine referenced before, the seniors set the tone against USF. And when things aren't going your way, that's when you need the seniors even more sometimes. Saunders. Dangerfield is there defensively. Samuelson picks up the basketball. Williams again throwing it for Stevens. Last touch by UCF, UConn basketball. Kia Nurse coming into the game for UConn. Tomorrow night at 7, UConn men will be here at Gamble to take on UCF. Get your tickets today at UConnTickets.com. UConn men's basketball built 4 banners. Johnny Dawkins had his nights in here practicing before this game. Nurse just into the game will get to the free throw line.
Nice execution once again. If they stay calm and run their offense, they'll get the shot they want.
2 free throws for Kia Nurse.
So a couple of free throws for Nurse with less than a minute to go. Ronu Uusi Abu is into the game. Freshman playing in her 9th game. 13 on the shot clock. 25 to go in the quarter. Saunders. Gabby Williams with the rebound. Plenty of time for UConn. Eight to go in the quarter. Nurse. Gabby Williams wide open from the free throw line. No. Saunders with the rebound. She'll hoist it, and that is the end of the first half. The lowest scoring first half for UConn this season. 32 points on the board for the Huskies. They shot 36%. UCF shot 30% in the first half. UConn with a 13-point lead, and without further ado, here's Gino with Justine. Well, after all that promotion, we're having technical difficulties with Justine's microphone, so Justine will let us know what Gino had to say when we get things squared away here as Gino Auriemma wrapping up. It was not a one and done, so little microphone problem for Justine. We'll try to get it fixed, and Justine, you can relay to us what was said by Gino Auriemma. 32-19 our score at halftime. UConn women's basketball on SOI brought to you by PC Richard & Son, proud sponsor of UConn Athletics. By Trantolo and Trantolo, Connecticut's personal injury law firm. Let our family help your family. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. All right, so we are calling an audible right here. Justine, throw in the headset here. How was Gino in halftime? Because we want to know. We had a technical difficulty.
Of course.
What happened?
Well, he's obviously upset with what he saw from his teams. He wants some more adjustments here. He said we have to defend off of those layups. He has been harking on those rebounds in shoot-around, in practice, and I think that's the number one thing here that's keeping the pace of the game not where Connecticut would like it to be.
Justine, great job. We called it audible. We tossed to you. That was a great job. So now we know. He wasn't that upset. There are things to work on, though. Justine, MVP performance.
Absolutely.
Good job. 32-19. Halftime reports next. First half stats are presented by Bob's Discount Furniture, and they certainly do tell the story. UConn shooting 36%, UCF 30% from the field. UConn a +4 rebounding margin. Eric Fried and Meg back with you here courtside at Gamble Pavilion. If Saturday's game was a Rembrandt, this is kind of like, what is it, like a Pollock or something like that? I mean, it was a mess.
Finger paints?
And so here's the scene right now, live here at Gamble. 20 seconds to go before the start of the third quarter, and you see Kia Nurse just now making it to the bench area. I don't recall a longer period of time that Gino Auriemma has kept his team in the locker room in my time doing these games here.
It's been a long time since I've seen it as well.
No, and you've experienced as a player and as an assistant coach and as a broadcaster. There was no time to warm up. Kept him in the locker room and making their way to the court now. UConn coaching staff and Gino bringing up the rear here. So that'll be very interesting to find out when he talks to Justine after the game what was said at halftime.
Well, you know, one thing he did say to Justine, and we had technical difficulties and we couldn't hear it, but he did. The last thing he said to her, which he told us after, was that we look like a bunch of high school players out there. So let's see what they look like here in the second half.
UCF basketball to start the second half. UConn comes back out in his own. Tipped away by Samuelson into the hands of Williams. Back to Samuelson, and here is Crystal Dangerfield. Gabby Williams. Dangerfield shut up, and she traveled with the basketball. Let's give UCF credit. This game is being played the way they want it to be played. They want it to be ugly because they know they can't compete with UConn shot for shot. They've got to go out there and they've got to be tough. They've got to be intense. And I will say this about UCF. They have been intense on both ends of the floor. They haven't been able to make their shots the way they want to, scoring 19 points in the first half, but that intensity level is there.
Oh, it is. And we said this in the first half. They are incredibly well coached. And Coach Abe has completely changed this program. And they were picked to finish third or fourth. And I fully expect them to continue to improve and be one of the top teams in the league.
Just beating the shot clock was Thigpen. Gregory is back out on the floor to start the second half. Nurse off the mark with a three. UConn season low field goal percentage, 41 against Stanford in the season opener. It was also their lowest scoring game of the year, 78 points.
You know, we've seen them take a lot of shots that were decent shots here in the first half and already here, and they just don't go in.
But Gregory, who had the collision with one of our officials, gets her first field goal in the second half. She has 4 points. KK Wright, the leading scorer for UCF with 6. Collier, first 2.5 for UConn. 7 points for Nafisa Collier. One thing UCF has done, and it was one of the keys for UCF, was trying to keep this crowd out of it, trying to keep it quiet here in Gamble. And they've been stunned here in this building for the most part. Even though UConn is up by 13, this has been very un-UConn-like. Crystal Dangerfield maybe turning the tide, counting the foul.
Well, I was thinking of that as you said that, as Crystal uses her body and uses the glass nicely. But, you know, perhaps the expectations are a bit high for this team and this program, that they're up 36-21 and everyone is sounding alarm bells of what's wrong. And that's just because you're used to them playing the game a certain way. When they don't do it, it's alarming. But as you indicate, you got to give a lot of credit to UCF.
Ayla Schuler back into the game for UCF. Well, especially coming off that last game for UConn. They won 100-49. They had a 25-point lead in the first quarter. Shot 14 of 20 in that first quarter. Came so easy in that game. UCF, to your point, Meg, making it tough on UConn. KK Wright with 8. Knocked away by the freshman. Cabo picked up a couple of fouls in the first half, limiting her time on the court.
Kia Nurse and UConn lucky that was not a layup the other way. It was a dangerous pass.
Samuelson trying to find some room, but had to take a tough shot.
Yeah, that was an unnecessary tough shot. I know she tried to draw the foul, but why not run offense and get it and look for an open shot?
Foul on Samuelson away from the ball. That's her second personal foul. She's the only one with more than one for UConn.
And this is where UCF is doing a good job of frustrating UConn a little bit, drawing that foul. Not a smart foul by Samuelson. Some of that is frustration.
Zakiya Saunders, 5 points in the first half. She's kind of controlled the tempo here for UCF. She has not gotten flustered. Came close there, but held on to it. Off the miss. Here come the Huskies. Dangerfield left open for 3. Wright pulls up over Kia Nurse for two. I think it's feel a little confidence building for UCF, certainly. They're hanging tough with the #1 team in the country, down by 12. Approaching 6 minutes to go in the third quarter in a low-scoring game here at Gamble.
They should have confidence and feel good about what they're doing. They're dictating the tempo. They're forcing UConn into taking shots that they don't normally take.
Williams, good feed to Nafisa Collier, counted in the foul.
See, if they have good spacing and pass the ball, they'll get wide open shots.
Gabby with 5 assists now to go along with her 10 rebounds. And a tough shooting night, 1 of 6 from the field. And Nafisa Collier finishes the three-point play. Nafisa, the first Husky in the double figures. She has 10, and the lead is 15. Gregory. 6 to shoot. Great defense by Gabby Williams.
Wow.
Numbers the other way. Beautiful pass. Dangerfield to Williams. Rewarded on the other end, and a timeout called by UCF. This is the largest lead of the game for UConn. They're on top by 17. Gabby Williams got it started on one end.
How about
and
just...
she finished it on the other end.
How about ripping it down with the left hand? And the sweet finish with the left as well. Trying to get the crowd going.
UConn has stretched it out to a 17-point lead. It has not come easy for the Huskies to get their largest lead of the game. But here is one of the highlights of the night. It's our drive of the game presented by Chevrolet. Gabby Williams turning defense into her offense.
I mean, just sheer athleticism to steal that ball out of thin air. And then the nice pass from Dangerfield for the kiss. That was just spectacular individual play by Williams.
You see the line for Gabby. A couple assists for Crystal Dangerfield to go along with her 8 points. Looking for a little bit more stickiness on the bottom of her shoes. Gabby is. UConn has outscored UCF 10-6 here in the third quarter. The timeout called by UCF to try to slow this UConn run down. Wright launches for 3.
And why not? She had 6 coming into the game. You know, Coach Abe has been so confident and mellow over on that sideline. And it's just exuding to her players.
Kicked out of bounds by Samuelson. And they say it was last touched by UCF. It was not kicked by Samuelson. So it'll be UConn basketball with 17 to shoot. But first in timeout with 4:43 to go here in the third quarter. And UCF finding a rare 3 to bring it down to 14. Been close here in the third quarter. UConn on top, 42-28 with a 1-point edge here in the quarter. And let's check in again with Justine.
Hey, Eric, well, a couple of things from those huddles. First of all, he wants a hand up all the time when guarding. He said those threes are going to start to drop. He also said we need to attack wherever they are because there isn't a set offense here. Get in transition. That's where they're really strong. Get to the rim, get to the free throw line.
Out of the timeout, they get a 3-point shot, and Nafisa Collier couldn't hold on to it, and it will be UCF basketball. You know that slush people have been shoveling over the last 24 hours?
That's what this game is.
This feels like you're trying to move a shovel through some slush. Gabby Williams, though, finds some smooth sledding. Gabby to the basket with 16 now.
Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's not pretty. And sometimes you just got to grind it out.
The lead is 16. Gabby with 6. Saunders. Comes another three for UCF. And Kia Nurse just couldn't hold on to the basketball.
Well, and that's a perfect example of the way the game has gone.
Tamisha Paul getting the hoop. And then a turnover the other way.
Well, the ball was a little high going to Collier. And there, look at that. I mean, when do you ever see that happen?
Well, you began to see, too, Kia Nurse slamming the floor. Well, the frustration has been evident since the opening minutes of this game.
And Dangerfield tried to hit Collier on the other end, and it went through Collier's hands out of bounds.
Reach by Gabby Williams. That's her second personal foul. Second team foul this quarter for UConn. UCF will inbound on the baseline. Huskies have only played 6, and it's a 5-second call. Turnover for UCF. Turnover number 13.
UConn's got to take that possession, you know, really good defensive set, and get some confidence out of it and run a good offensive set. Or just drive it in. Sometimes you can overcomplicate it. That time, Gabby Williams, notice that no one stopped the ball.
Paul fouled from behind by Crystal Dangerfield.
How about that? No, no one stopped me. I'll take it in.
8 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists for Gabby Williams. Right. Good help by Nurse.
Really good team defense.
Gregory, good look. Too strong, and Kia Nurse, a little trouble handling that rebound, but she does corral it. Skip past Dangerfield, her three on the way. Crystal into double figures now with 11. She's leading UConn in scoring. No Azuré Stevens yet in the second half. She had 9 first-half points.
Well, Dangerfield, I mentioned it the first half, looking much more offensive. Aggressive offensively, taking shots more than I've seen all season.
Tough pass. Turnover UCF. UConn basketball. Our next UConn game here on SNY coming up Saturday afternoon. The Huskies will be in Houston to take on the Cougars, who enter play this week. 3-0 in conference play. Our pregame coverage gets underway 2:30 Eastern time, only on SNY. UConn will have a 2-game swing in Texas. We have the Houston game for you Saturday afternoon. Then it's on to Austin to face 7th-ranked Texas. Longhorns 13-1 on the season. Nurse for 3. First points of the second half for Kia Nurse.
I'm sure Kia breathed a sigh of relief after that one went in.
A 10-2 run for the Huskies here. Saunders slows it down.
That's a really nice play by UCF.
Williams somehow got through traffic. Dangerfield, nice little dribble. Gabby Williams works inside, just won't go down. KK Wright. Williams, and now they're off and running again. Dangerfield dropped it off for Samuelson, but a pretty good play by KK Wright to stick with it defensively for UCF. Now Kia Nurse, the only one back for UConn. And a whistle and a foul called on Kia Nurse before the basket. So no basket. Foul on Nurse on the push.
So Nurse made her pass. She bumped her. It's a good call. Initially, I didn't think it was a good call, but...
Tell you what, that's a good foul, too. 2-on-1 the other way. UCF scored, take away the basket, give up the foul.
Absolutely.
Final minute of the third quarter. Katie Lou Samuelson got her hands in there. Tie up, possession arrow, UConn. Now, Katie Lou, she hasn't done a lot of scoring here tonight, Meg. 2 of 8 from the field, just 6 points, but this is a sign of her game maybe developing a little bit. She's got to do little things. If the shot's not there, if the offense isn't there, if UCF's doing all they can to take her out of the offense, how can she help in other ways?
Find a way to contribute. Absolutely.
But this is what she does best. Not this time, though. Collier on the offensive glass, spins it in for 2.
This game is so physical. I don't think it's quite as easy to see at home how physical this game is.
UConn has tried to attack the basket. 26 of their 54 points have come in the paint. Now they're extending their defense out on Saunders. Picked by Gabby Williams to Samuelson. Samuelson to the basket for 2. She wants the foul, didn't get the call. She was yelling, and 1. UCF looks up at the clock and a little bit too late to get a shot off, and that's a good way to end the quarter for UConn. Samuelson forced the turnover earlier in the quarter and then finishes the quarter with the hoop with the help from Gabby Williams. Tip to Samuelson. UConn takes a 24-point lead to the 4th. UConn a plus 11 in the third quarter to take a 24-point lead into the 4th quarter here in Stores. Let's check in with Meg for a look at Como's Court Vision, brought to you by Yale New Haven Health.
You know, you talk about Gabby Williams and her athleticism. You know, this was a good play at a key point where driving up the court, UCF just didn't stop the ball. So you turn the corner, okay, where's the help from the weak side and the backside? A little too late. Nice finish by Williams.
Azure Stevens is going to come into the game for Gabby Williams. You see the line for Gabby. This is the first sub of the second half for UConn. Stevens is the only bench player used by Gina Auriemma, and she's played 8 minutes tonight. That gives you an idea of just what UConn's had to do here today. They've played 5 pretty much, and now Stevens has been the only bench player used, and here she is for the first time in the 4th. First time in the second half in the 4th. Samuelson called for the foul. That will be her 3rd.
Now, you know, clearly Saunders is quick, but now is Samuelson, with you see the black brace on her left ankle, is her lateral movement impaired with that left ankle injury? We don't know. My guess is yes.
Ball back to Wright. Wright's been good.
Wright has been right on all evening.
15 points for KK Wright to lead all scorers here at Gamble. 7 of 13 from the field. Collier finds a cutting Azure Stevens.
And so the question then could be, why doesn't UConn spread it out and run offense like that every possession? It's those quick shots that they've been taking. Well, when they're not dropping, you know what? Stop taking them, run offense.
Paul tries to drive baseline. Somehow found Kaba. Shot blocked by Stevens into the hands of Dangerfield.
That's what the UConn coaching staff wants Stevens to do on the defensive end.
Kia Nurse for 3.
And that's what they want Nurse to do on the offensive end.
4 in double figures now for UConn. 12 for Collier, 11 apiece for Dangerfield, Nurse, and Stevens. Not this time for Wright. Easy rebound for Samuelson. Now UConn trying to pull away here at home. Dangerfield got knocked down. Stevens got the rebound. Timeout called by UCF. It's been a struggle for UConn, but now finding their offense against UCF. Fighting Azurá Stevens for the easy 2, and then Kia Nurse for 3. Her second 3 of the game. I try to stay away from the phrase must watch, but I do believe it applies here. The premiere Gino's Legacy tonight after postgame, only on SOY. Caroline Doty, you saw her on her senior night in that little clip. There's Caroline there. She got a great round of applause when she was introduced earlier in the game. Nikisha Sales, I think she was a little surprised about the round of applause she got from the fans when she was introduced before the game. She had a little bit of a surprise look at her face.
She's the pride of Bloomfield, Connecticut. Of course Nikisha's going to get a big round of applause. And Doty's
still
back.
Remember Nikisha.
Oh, yeah. Doty's back because she had knee surgery. She tore her ACL for a 4th time. So she's back rehabbing a bit.
A lot of popular players in the building. Shea Ralph, of course, coaching on the bench, and Megan Pattison-Como sitting next to me. With more Nikisha, here's Justine.
Hey, Eric, well, I asked Nikisha, do you ever get advice from Gino? I think that's the answer a lot of people want to know. She said, I'm still new. I've only been at this a year and a half. I haven't picked his brain just yet, and that's because his system is very different than ours. So I really got to know ours first, but I know he's there when I need him.
Thank you, Justine. Of course, Nikisha's been down in the Orlando area for about 15 years now.
Yeah.
She hooked on with this UCF staff in Orlando. Stevens ripped it away, almost ripped Samuelson's arm off trying to grab that rebound. Katie Lou's been through the ringer this year. Foot and ankle injury, and now a sore shoulder and a face wash as well.
Tell you, it hasn't been pretty. That was pretty.
Quickly off the inbound play. Azurá Stevens scores. Stretch it out to a 31-point lead. Saunders for 3. 10 points for Zykia Saunders.
How about that shot? Long range with defense in her face.
How about that finish by Kia Nurse? Looked like she wanted to pass it and then found a little opening to shoot it. 13 for Nurse. Stevens leading the way with 15. I think that's going to be well short. Grabbed by Nurse. Dangerfield, Samuelson, 3 more. Timeout called by UCF. UConn starting to pull away. It's one of those instances where it's a 33-point lead, and maybe Gino's legacy is only 33 points. What's wrong here today?
Well, and you know, he's always been a coach that never played to the score, and tonight's a good example of where, even though you're up by 33, they haven't played the way they're capable of playing, and kind of turning it on and knocking down some shots now as Samuelson, you know, kind of finally hits a shot from long range. But you got to give those kids credit for continuing to fight through when nothing was going right for them. And again, I alluded to this earlier. Maybe the expectations for this program are so high that, yeah, they're up by 33, but it just doesn't seem like it.
Timeout comes with 6:01 to go in the fourth quarter. UConn has outscored UCF 14-5 in the quarter and 38-18 in the half. It looks like UConn's going to dip into their bench a little deeper here as Megan Walker set to check in today. No, it's Kyler Irwin, I beg your pardon, who comes into the game. So Irwin is in with Samuelson, Stevens, Nurse, and Gabby Williams. But Crystal Dangerfield on the bench, 11 points, 4 assists for Dangerfield. Also had 4 turnovers. Good finish by the freshman. Kaba, chance for a three-point play.
Kaba, the tough Boston kid. Like, nice pump fake, and then another pump fake, use of the left hand. I think she shot a look at Stevens, too. Got a lot of confidence, that freshman.
Masami Kaba will attempt the first free throw of the game for UCF. She can't finish it. Went to Cathedral High School. Out of Boston. The American Freshman of the Week this week. Second time she's picked up that award. Been the leading scorer the last two games for UCF. Stevens will try. She will try and try again. Tipped away by Samuelson from behind. UCF basketball. Molly Bent checking in for UConn. Molly had a really good game against USF. Really got the folks wearing blue in the building down at the Sundome. It was a record crowd for the Sundome. 66-59, and that UConn bench and the UConn fans. So Molly put 6 points on the board, 2 for 2 from outside the three-point line. Kaba has it batted away by Gabby Williams, and then Stevens lost it out of bounds. No reset of the shot clock. UConn didn't get possession.
The shake of the head says it all.
Schuler couldn't get the putback. Grabbed by Stevens. Molly Bent trying to stay hot. Kyla Irwin with the save to Gabby Williams. Nurse calls for it, sets and misses the three. A save by Azure Stevens, and now Kia Nurse says, let's just settle down for just a moment here. Foul called on UCF as Nurse tried to get it into Stevens. Second team foul on UCF as the foul goes to Schuler. It's good to have that target at 6'6" at the top of the key as a bailout if you're looking to get it in bounds. And Kaba is going to get called for the foul, working against Azure Stevens. Coming up, Gary Apple, Kara Walters with their thoughts on this game. They'll have the highlights, analysis, reaction, and more. UConn Women's Basketball postgame show presented by People's United Bank. It's right after our game, and right after Gary and Kara are done, it'll be Gino's Legacy here tonight on SNY. Williams tried to get it to Kia Nurse. It was broken up by the Knights. 4 minutes to go in the fourth. Gabby Williams with the rebound. That's her 13th rebound tonight.
Good box out by Kyla Irwin as well, keeping Kaba off the boards.
Stevens on the drive for two.
Nice aggressive take.
Stevens, leading scorer for UConn tonight off the bench with 17 points. I couldn't wait to share that.
Yeah,
that was an aggressive take by me to get her total. Shot clock to 4. Wright, leading scorer for UCF tonight. Second chance here with Saunders, guarded by Bent. Wright will try. And Wright picks up the loose ball and gets fouled. Breakdown there on the glass for UConn.
Yeah, Nurse didn't box out the shooter. As the ball careened back towards the shooter, Wright did a nice job of chasing it down.
So take me into the film room here after a game like this, because there's going to be a lot of little things like that in this game. Again, we understand what the score says. It's 72-39, but we're talking about the #1 team in the country that's won 11 national championships, and every time we've shown the head coach, he's shaking his head.
Right. Well, and he'll complain about things. Like, he sees things every day in practice that he doesn't like. And this game film today will reiterate to them in real time.
Is it like gold to him?
Yeah, it's gold.
It's like, these are the things we've been talking about in practice.
Like, you think I'm crazy. I say this stuff all the time. Well, this film doesn't lie.
Michaela Coombs, Megan Walker into the game. So all the starters on the bench now for the Huskies as Gabby Williams checks out. For Gabby, her final line, 8 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists in her 33 minutes. Tia Nurse finishes with 13 points. Lafisa Collier with 12. Katie Lou Samuelson with 11. Crystal Dangerfield had 11 as well. And Stevens still in the game, leading the way with 17. Make it 19.
Nice offense. Good pass from Walker, who just entered the game.
Two and a half to play. Tipped away, taken away by Connecticut. Bentz finds Megan Walker.
UCF got caught sleeping.
Siaba getting ready to check back in for UCF. Saunders batted away. Coombs leads it to Megan Walker. Stevens. Walker, extra pass. Kyla Irwin couldn't get the three. Azrae Stevens just about got shoved out of bounds trying to get to that rebound. Saunders, 3 more for Zykia Saunders. 13 points for Saunders, right at her season average. These two teams will meet again in Orlando on February 7th. Walker's pull up. 4 quick points off the bench for Megan Walker, averaging 6 a game.
How about that, the confidence of that freshman coming in late and pulling up on the break? I love it.
Block. Into the hands of Bent. Back for Walker. Final minute. Stevens. Bent has it tipped away, but taken back away by Coombs. Coombs running. Shot is good for her first points. 9 points this season for the freshman out of Georgia.
Yeah, another freshman coming off the bench. Finishing strong on a break.
Saunders trying to take Molly Bent off the dribble. Grabbed by Azrae Stevens, and that will do it. Well, it wasn't easy, it wasn't pretty, but a win is a win, and UConn wins again. 80-44, the final here in Storrs.
Look, they're actually smiling over there. They should be. A win's a win.
UCF dictated play for long portions of this game, but some smiles from Gino Auriemma here. Had a big hug for Nikisha Sales as well. As UConn, in the end, what were we complaining about during this game? It's a 36-point win.
We are ridiculous.
You were the one complaining.
We are ridiculous.
Well, now remember, this was a battle for UConn. They got a little spark off the bench here today from Azrae Stevens, who led UConn in scoring with 19 points. Had a double-double, 19 and 10 for Azrae Stevens. That's her 4th double-double this year, and the 28th of her career. I think Justine had to track Gino down. He was anxious to get to the locker room, Justine. Spent so much time there at halftime. Back to you, Justine. Take it away.
All right, Eric. Well, Gino, your team didn't come back out until there was 20 seconds left on the halftime clock. What was your message at half?
Well, I mean, we were trying to get ourselves in the right mindset. You know, I mean, sometimes I think kids wait for the referees to bail them out. You know, like you start waiting for the referee to help you when you can't score on your own or when you can't rebound on your own. So I think the mindset was a little different when we came back out. It was a different mindset defensively and how we wanted to guard them. We made almost no mistakes in the second half defensively, and certainly the mindset was completely different on the offensive end. And then Gabby Williams single-handedly turned the game around, and there you have the story of the game.
Coming off USF, what do you hope they take away from a game like this one?
Well, I mean, it's a quick turnaround, you know, when you think about it. And I thought, you know, once we got our legs under us, I thought we battled them pretty good. They're not an easy team to play against, you know. Defensively, they just make it a kind of a slog, you know. They don't want to run up and down the floor, so it becomes like you got to force the issue all the time. Nobody's going to score 100 on them. So I thought we did a really, really good job for a majority of the game. And you know what? At some point, you know, I thought those last 4 minutes, I thought a couple kids in that second group look pretty confident. They look pretty good. One of the things that's been a huge, huge problem for us is the development of our bench. I mean, I know people watching the game saying, you know, why don't they play like that? You know, why don't you put them in? If you ever came to one of our practices, you would say, how did these guys get a scholarship? They just play so tentatively. They play so, like, afraid to make mistakes, you know, and we've been harping to come out here and make some plays, you know. And today, the happiest thing that I come out of here with is those last 4 minutes. We actually had a couple of those guys that can make plays actually try to make a play. And to their horror, it actually worked. So I'm thrilled for them.
All right, thanks, Coach. Some positives to take away, Eric and Meg.
There's a lot to process there right now, Justine. Gino's interview presented by PC Richard & Son. Where to begin? He had a lot to get off his chest.
I couldn't even begin to tell you.
UConn wins it 80-44 the final. UConn women's basketball on SNY, brought to you by Citizens Bank. Visit citizensbank.com. By the Connecticut State Farm agents of the game, Curtis Boyd in Groton and Natisha Poindexter in Deep River. Speak with them today. By Toyota. The Toyota Drive to Victory sales event is here. Toyota, let's go places. And by Connecticut Laundry. You can't win if you don't play. Still a little bit more here to get done at stores before we get you to the SNY studios. Back in a moment.